And we are live. Welcome to the SEO news for week 34. So that's last week. Gathered all the great news in AI and SEO. And I will be going through them today. A very top level view here. And then, of course, you have all the links and summaries in the description if you want to deep dive. My name is Frederick Drost. I work for Precis Digital. And yeah, let's jump right into it. First up, we've got a lot of LLM and AI visibility stuff going on here. Ahref created this, well, they vibe coded this tracker here on ChatGPT referrals versus Google or other types of search engines. So really cool. Great for sparking conversations. A great tool. I would say, first of all, like today you want links, you want promotional value. Content is easy to create with AI, but creating a tool like this is something AIs cannot reproduce. So definitely, if you want backlinks, well, they've got this domain though. They didn't do it on Ahrefs, which I find weird. Maybe they'll, I don't know, redirect those backlinks, but a great tool if you want to create backlinks or mentions, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, a lot of debates and articles will be sparked based on this data. People are talking about it on Twitter, so it is working. But what they've noticed is that the ChatGPT referrals have dropped. And I think the takeaway here is that could be overall true. I know that they also mentioned some of the platforms like Reddit and Wikipedia are gaining more, like AIs are going more towards direct answer content instead of branded content, so to speak. So that's one of the key takeaways here is going back to SEO basics of creating content that answers questions without trying to mix in your brand too much, which is super interesting. So it's basically back to the old school SEO days. But also, I have several clients that the needle has not moved. So I think a lot of my clients have local search involved. So this is not true for everyone. And of course, base your strategies based on exactly your client niche and what they're seeing and how people are coming into their site. I've been talking a little bit about chunk optimization here as well and retrieval optimization. And so I think Marie Haynes is one of those who came out and said, you know, we should have we can't over optimize on like retrieval and semantic, all these types of things that the technologies used by AIs to retrieve your content and understand it, that we should definitely focus on the user. And I think this over optimization or chunk optimization is a dead end, is what people are saying here. I trust that. I think that's true. It doesn't mean we can't try, especially if it's a very important page, to kind of work a little bit around how to AIs fetch it and understand it. But if you write really good, concise content for humans, that tends to be good enough. So focusing on the user is still more important, I feel. With of course maybe a spice or a little bit of a pinch of AI optimization for specific key important pages that should be mentioned in AIs. Also, someone I just started following, Mitehen Jesuyurts. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name incorrectly, but he found out how to get access to ChatGPT's configuration file. So you can see a few things on like what's the process for doing a web search and referencing content. Key takeaway here is freshness. So your super great content could be outranked by fresh content that's less good in LLM. So freshness seems to be a big thing here, and they're trying to program that in. Maybe they've overdone it now. Maybe they'll draw it back. But again, this is something we say for classic SEO. Fresh content works. Search engines, you need to update your evergreen content. It works for AIs too. So again, this Venn diagram with AI and SEO is just becoming one giant circle at this stage. It's not even a Venn diagram. It's really interesting. Also, Mary Haynes spotting. She's giving a PSA saying that some hosting platforms are blocking AI bots without telling the user. She experienced that specifically with her own site. So use this AI bot analyzer tool here from Max Braglia. Great tool, by the way, really good. Another way to get backlinks, mentions, etc. Create a tool. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. Go use that tool and check. Don't just rely on the fact that you might get referrals or not. It could be that some of the URLs are in the training data, etc., etc. So just use it, check it, and of course talk to your hosting solution if they block. I think she showed an example of her emails talking about, hey, please unlock that. Also, a little small PSA here from Brody SEO, the best as well in the SERP space. If you're using the Ahrefs citation, so if you go to Ahrefs, you can see ChatGPT mentions, Gemini mentions, etc. It's a subdomain report, meaning if you're looking at Wikipedia in this example, you'll see that, actually I can show you, you'll see that When you just type Wikipedia, it looks low, but then you type English.wikipedia, and suddenly you get something interesting. So you can see here how little Wikipedia.org has versus the English subdomain. Suddenly that looks a lot more true. So just remember that when you're doing your own little research. AI mode now in 180 countries, I think, except Australia, or will be coming slowly. I haven't seen it in some countries in Europe yet. So just have a look at the list and, of course, the dates as well before we start panicking. Google also announced, Google AI specifically, announced that the agentic capabilities, wow, are now live in AI mode for Google Ultra subscribers. I don't even know what that is, honestly. But what's really interesting here is it can do some research. Maybe I can show this. It can actually look through, like you can find the restaurants that have specific needs or menus, etc., under 5 stars. So you can really give it a specific thing. It'll also be able to book a restaurant in the future for you, I think. So just showcasing where we might be going and how can we adapt to this agentic web, semantic HTML, things like that. So SEOs, again, very well geared towards optimizing for agents. So that might be the next big thing on LinkedIn. Chrome is about to embed Gemini Nano into the browser directly. So this is a big thing, but not really. But it's basically you'll be able to talk to the website directly. You can actually ask it, where can I find this page? What's the terms of service? Is there a product under this price? And there's really no logs or anything like that. So from my understanding, you won't be able to kind of see what's going on here. You can see here questions like, what's the return policy? They will be answered directly from page content. So this is really interesting. Now, again, we can adapt HTML to it because it's reading that. We can adapt a bunch of things, alt text, etc. But yeah, have a look at this because it's really interesting. Not sure how it will change behavior over time. And people might be, well, we need to adapt our websites to this. I'm not saying this is a huge thing, but I want to see more case studies on people using this. Google's new Ask Anything feature in AI mode is also expanding beyond product grids and is now appearing directly in the standard SERPs. So what's happening is Google might be replacing People Also Ask with Ask Anything, which is a little bit more in-depth, and I feel the questions are generated in a different way. It comes from a different source here. I think the example here from Brody is quite interesting. And what he's referring to is that the data will be very interesting. So you can see this picture here, how Ask Anything in AI mode, it's quite, I feel like it's a lot more nuanced questions that might be better, but getting these in from your SERP API will be very interesting in terms of referring to content, what people are asking. So just a change in the SERPs here, that's quite interesting. Here is, and speaking of semantic density, overlap, blah, 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 all this stuff here. This is a good article on like where we should be in terms of, can we over optimize for retrieval from AIs and understanding of AIs versus users. I think this just takes a good, it explains what semantic density and semantic overlap are as measuring points for your concept. But it takes a nuanced approach to, we shouldn't do it too much. So yeah, it's a good article. I think it's important to know these things, but again, AI is still a small part of the search world. This one is really big. Again, from Brody, just delivering all the good stuff here today. Google is adding new physical stores filter in GMC Next, so Google Merchant Center Next. And again, this is, I think this started when Google came out with the in-store kind of markup. Basically, you have your products and you have different physical stores. You can mark them up with visibility in what stores are this available at and how many. And so you're telling Google, in this specific store, in this location, we have that product, we have 3 of them, blah, blah, blah. This is actually a really, really good strategy for getting a lot of local listings, free product listings in local, on maps, et cetera, et cetera. So you are just, this is something you should be doing and looking into if you have physical stores and an online shop. I'm not saying it's hard. You need to kind of connect warehouse data with your markup and make it dynamic, but it's definitely, I think, worth it. And now you can even get the data in with these new filters. You can now see exactly what's going on and perhaps attribute more value to it. So I think it's just a good update. And a good reminder to mark up, your inventory. It's called local inventory, by the way, the markup, if you're curious. And yeah, this was the ChatGPT tracker versus Google that I mentioned. So yeah, just have a look at that. I'll have it as a specific link here from Ahrefs. Great strategy for getting mentions and links. And then finally, just a good little guide on why Crux data and Search Console Core Vital data are so different. I've always Never liked the Search Console data, showing the pages and Corporate Vitals, and it's just a good article on like why they're different. And I tend to just look at Crux data, but the Crux is more reflective of user experience volume since it weighs results by where people actually spend time. Search Console is more diagnostic. It'll just show you pages that needs improvement, even if they aren't frequently visited. I've still seen that Search Console will just show you pages, not all pages that needs improvement. Because if I know a template it's slow or all the images on the website are slow, but Search Console is saying, you only have 200 pages that needs help or improvement, but we have 10 million pages, something's up. It's an indicator of where to start. I still like Crux data. I still think you should be doing kind of Corporate Vital audits from a template perspective, and then test, verify, continue. Plus, use performance data. Use performance data, because it's a static environment that you're testing, so you can actually see improvements on the spot without having to waiting for user data, which can change based on a bunch of other factors. So, good little guide there. And that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. There are all the links, summaries, and all the links to all this cool stuff in the description. You can just copy it, throw it in an email, whatever you want to do. And read up on it. Of course, you need to deep dive. And it's been lovely. Have a lovely week. I will be on vacation, so I might not be doing these videos for 1 or 2 weeks. But I hope I will see you all when I get back.